Peace and grand rising to the heirs. Today is January the 21st, 1441 on the moon calendar. We are so grateful to be here at this universal, original, indigenous, natural divine, de jure Moorish American government, law enforcement, peacekeeping, unification summit. The purpose of this summit is to ensure that as the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural divine heirs to the land, that it is known earthwide that no matter what our governments are, what governments we are with, that we are still one, and that we are indeed governing on our land, and that there are no other governments on our land but the heirs.
Matthew's Day.
For the heirs and by the heirs. Islam, welcome, welcome, welcome. The secondary purpose of this summit is to begin the dialogue and the opening of the demonstrations by the heirs and by the government, which we all are the government, that we are also the law on the land as well as being the government, and that regardless of our backgrounds and where we're from and any of that,
Amari Bay, DC territory.
Grand Rising, that we are at peace on the land and that peace will continue to be on our land. Okay, it's been many, many years since true peace made its debut on this land. And now we're able to have the peace that we're looking for because we are that. And for that, we're grateful. We have several speakers that are going to put forth their wisdom for us and to us, and we're so grateful for them. And we will also be speaking a little bit out of the Human Rights Standards and Practice book, Grand Rising. We will be speaking out of the Human Rights Standards and Practice for the Police book. And know that we are not corporate by any means. We are de jure, original, and indigenous, and that there are no United States corporation company citizens involved in what we're doing. All that we are doing has everything to do with us and nothing to do with the corporation at this time. So our job and our focus right now as the nations and as the government is to govern our sovereign land and to focus on nation building. And as we continue to do that, the corporates will do what they're supposed to do. They already know what to do. Our job and our focus is not going to be on them. It's going to be on us and building our nations and our governments here at North America. So we want to go ahead and open right up with our speakers so that we can hear who they are and a little bit about them and let them present in whatever manner where unity and law enforcement and just whatever they want to present today, we're open to hearing. So without further ado, we have Empress Delilah Passe is with us today, and as you all know, she is an amazing pillar in the Moorish nation, and she brings much to the table where the foundational knowledge is concerned. So without further ado, I do want to yield the floor to Empress Delilah Passe, and she can say whatever is on her heart to say. I'm going to mute everyone except for Empress Delilah Passe at this time, so please do not unmute yourself so that we could hear what she has to say. Ms. Lon. Okay, Empress Delilah Passe, I yield the floor.
Islam Moors, I rise giving honor to Allah and next unto his holy and divine prophets. I have been on this road a little while, but I have been doing a lot of introspection recently with regard to, my place in this movement. Doing a lot of study, doing a lot of observations as a Moor scientist, using the science of being a Moor, and understanding what this journey is about, because it's a journey about life's journey. I was asked recently, what is life? And the answer that I had to come home and examine what is life. And by definition, life is the span between birth and death. So the journey, the life is the journey to pick up the lessons that we are meant to gather, because we all know the ultimate is to leave this physical form. I'd like to share that I am in unity with the Moorish Divine and National Movement. I am in this unity with us as Moors gathering to reestablish governmental principles. We've had governmental principles whether we knew it or not, but we just didn't exercise them because we allowed outside forces to keep us in a particular place and space and time. I say I've been studying. I study the Prophet's words, Noble Drew Ali. I've been studying the Prophet Yeshua. I've been studying Buddha. I've been studying a lot of the prophets that we acknowledge as being some of the forerunners upon whose shoulders we stand. And I've been examining chapter 29 of the Circle 7, which talks about magistrate and subject. We don't want just for the ensigns that we can get, whether we can get stripes on our shoulders, but this movement, like the Prophet said, is about love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It's about love. And if you're not an example or exemplar of love, because love is the law. And if we understand what love is, and I've given a definition along the way based on the letters themselves, because the letters themselves are words unto themselves, the L, the O, the V, and the E. And I've done a study about that because the L, the O, the V, and E comes from the Semitic, which is, of course, us, because language is ours anyway. We taught them to speak. The L means to learn and to teach true knowledge from the heart for divine redemption. The O is eternal, ever, never ending, no beginning, no end. The V is from ball, which means the hook, the L and the O together, the eternal, to the learning and teaching. And the E is the window, a window of opportunity to share the love. And back in the day, I read something where Che Guevara, who was part of the Cuban Revolution, one of his precepts was, a revolutionary must be guided by great feelings of love. And if the movement is not about love, we're only duplicating what has been on the forefront since they have arrived, the colonizers have arrived. hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. This is a movement about love. And if you're not about the movement of love, then, you know, we're only going to be repetitious and repeat the same lesson over and over again. And we need to learn from the history. It's being demonstrated with regard to the schools, the jobs, all these things were meaningless, you know, but it was for us to make a comparison, to contrast, to expand and contract, to expand and contract. So all these things that we have been going through dismal crypts, going through all these trials and tribulations to understand what it is, how we're to relate to one another. It's about love that we must relate to each other. And if we're not concerned about that, then like I'm seeing, it's only going to be a repetition of, you know, what has been going on for all these many years. There's in chapter 25, it says, ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother have given you suck. But the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brother, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. And that was some of the lessons that I shared over the summer. I think it was beginning in June, July, and August. I think maybe a little bit later because of Mercury retrograde, and I there again went in for introspection, and also because my physical eyes are not up to par, but I'm learning that I don't need some of the vision that I had as a child. I don't need some of those visions because that was some of the lower self visions. Got to get up to the highest point. And at this point, that's where I am doing a lot of introspection, and we're getting ready to go again into another Mercury retrograde. But you can best believe as above, so below. So whatever is happening here is happening above. And we're being guided by and being reinforced by the heavenly bodies. As we're part of the heavenly bodies, we are part of those heavenly bodies. And so we are stars, and we're reflecting the energy through the cosmos. And if you understand that if you hurt even a single worm, the meanest worm, you're hurting that portion of you that's within you, that of the Allah that is within you. And understand that good is your power, and always look for the best in others and give others the best that is within you. At this point, I'm going to yield because I didn't really prepare a whole lot to say, and I know I didn't want to extend anything further than the business about which we're gathered tonight, all right? I just wanted to share my thoughts and continue to gather thoughts from those who participate on this line. And at this moment, I yield. Peace and love.
Islam. Thank you so much, Empress Delilah. Your energy is amazing, and we appreciate all that you've done for the nation and what you continue to do. We've learned so much from you, and we want to honor you as well. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes, Islam. Another one of our justices here at Moorish American Consulate, Justice Jonaya Joni L, is on the judiciary for the consulate, and I will say just a few things about her. Empress Jonaya, when I first met her, she was very, very, very quiet. But as we know about those who are quiet, they are fireballs when they're brought to bear, you know, if you mess with them, you're going to get some fire. So, and I love that. I absolutely love it. I want to,
they fucking with your ass?
Let you, Empress Jonaya, go ahead and say a few words as well, because she has been working towards the what is it? The uniform for the Vanguard. I'm sorry, Jonaya. The uniforms of all things, yes, for the Vanguard. And so I want to be sure that we. I was going to initially say the processes for the Vanguard, but that is part of the processes. So without further ado, I yield the floor. Empress Justice Jonaya, Joni L. Islam.
Islam. I was hoping that you would make me laugh. I don't like I always like to be at the last. My talk may be a little bit longer than hers because I kind of wrote it out, trying to cover the areas that I wanted to cover. So if you want me to go ahead and be next.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, gonna put me on the spot, huh?
Yes.
All right, Islam, Moors, Islam. I am Justice Jonaya, and I always start off with I am a living being, and I say that because it's important because we have been looked at as being dead, and I'm just reaffirming that we are not dead, that we are alive, and we are not a corporate construct, which is the word human is a persona. And so when we call ourselves a Moors, we have to really ask what does that really mean, and what does it mean to be a vanguard, or any other of those. All of those questions can be actually answered with the same answer, and that is to be ourselves. And being that we have many choices to choose from to be what we want or choose to be. When we are talking about being a Moors, we're talking about a persona. As in our documents, we have the word in propria persona. The identification of persona is to represent as a person, to make, to resemble, to imagine, and keep it in mind.
A Moor is a cult member, if you ask me. It's just a cult member, isn't it?
And keep it in mind that those words are just used to identify people, places, and things. And so I'll keep in mind that the word itself is used to identify the being that is behind the mask, or behind the title, or behind the name. So the best way for me to talk about the subject matter at hand is to talk about my own experience, being that it is the first-hand experience. It is the biggest and its most beneficial way that we can gain knowledge is through experience. So to start off by talking about my childhood. My childhood, it was pretty much the same as most people growing up in a corporate construct. I was programmed, not knowing, just going along with the crowd. And one of my biggest lessons was learning that I didn't have to be sick, which I actually learned from a librarian when I was attending college where I received my BA in commercial art. After learning about all of the causes of being sick was related to the foods that we were eating, it really didn't take much to convince me that I really needed to make a change, as to what I was doing. Because as I was growing up, I was always in and out of hospitals with asthmatic. I grew up as an asthmatic, having flu and having a pneumonia. But then after learning about changing my diet, and I learned and began to feel so much better, I realized and I knew that it was the right thing for me to do. I have gone from being a junk food junkie to being a natural, raw food vegan. I very rarely eat cooked food. My diet is mostly raw, and it has made a huge difference in the way I feel and the way I think. Some of the things that I've noticed in changing my diet was that I could feel and see the difference between the physical and the mental. I began to recognize whenever I ate too much processed food or cooked food, it made it more difficult for me to quiet my mind. When we don't eat properly, it can be very deadly. Like they say that you can drink water or you can drown in it. So it's pretty much the same way with food. We can eat it to nourish our bodies, or we can eat it to destroy it. When we eat properly, there's no need for us to go to doctors, and I haven't actually myself been to a doctor in over 40 years. Mm-hmm. I don't take any kind of medication, not even aspirins for pain. I don't take supplements because all of the nutrients are in the food, along with the right mindset. One of the other great things about being a vegan is that we don't have, I would say, body odor. When the body is not full of toxins, it doesn't give off strong odors, so there's no need to use soap. I do use soap for washing my feet because I don't wear shoes when I'm at home. The only time I wear shoes is when I go out in the public. So in order to know, when I say to know ourselves, we must study. We must study thyself. But because of the program, we have been taught to study everything outside of ourselves, which is really backwards. There's a difference between the intellectual and the intuitive knowing. The difference between the two is that intellectual knowledge, which is the outer, and the intuitive knowledge, which is the inner, which is learning through experience. The intellectual knowledge is learning through repetition, repeating things until you can remember what you have been studying. When you're studying through your intuitive, your inner, there's no need to spend hours and hours of reading and listening and watching media or whatever. So in other words, it's a form of being programmed, which is really a way of mind control. We have been programmed to look for answers outside of ourselves through books, through media, through people who are also programmed. And one of the hardest things to do is free someone that doesn't know that they are programmed via mind control. When I realized the problem of spending too much time being distracted through media, through reading books, and through listening to people, watching movies, I stopped watching movies, I stopped watching TVs, I stopped listening to people, because I realized that to look for answers from people that were just as programmed as I was not the answer. So by going within, I can see the difference between the intellectual knowledge and intuitive knowing, and the reason for the meditation. Meditation is an exercise. It's not meant to take you from being programmed to be more enlightened. It's an exercise to stay in the moment, to become awake and to become aware of your thoughts.
Why do you sound so lethargic then, Jonaya? Why do you sound...
And that are going through the thoughts that are going through our mind. When we separate, when we really separate who we are from that which we think we are, then we can make a change. It's called choice, the ability to choose who we want to be rather than to be what we thought we were or have been programmed to be. We can become a justice, a vizier, vanguard, a moor. The possibilities are endless. In closing, I want to say it is time for us to stand up and the time to take off the corporate mask, the persona of a human, and take on the persona of a moor, a vanguard, a justice, in which I said before the possibilities are endless. And I know that we can do it. With that being said, I yield. Islam.
Islam. Thank you, Empress Jonaya. You said some things that are very key where law enforcement and vanguard are concerned. That is actually completely in alignment with regard to diet. Historically, we have always been in the best shape because historically we have the genetics to be in the best shape. We've always been. We've always had the cleanest diet. We've always had that.
Yes.
And so as we continue to move in this grand rising, we are going to be emphasizing diet, exercise, etc. Some things that we, most more, for the most part, we know about that and we do it. But we can, there's always room for improvement for all of us, myself included. Monitoring our diets and getting exercise. And as vanguard, as we continue to come together, we're going to be implementing a morning regimen. And again, everything that we do is completely voluntary. All we'll say is starting at a certain time in the morning when it's convenient for each one of us, get up and do a particular exercise regimen. There'll be a beginner regimen, an intermediate regimen, and an advanced regimen. And this is something that we can do all across the nation.
Yes,
and we can all be doing it together.
And we can do it in our own home.
Yes, yes, that is actually how this is going.
Yes,
is we are coming together from the most separate places we can, and now we're coming together, and it won't be long now, especially since we are the administration on our land. We're the government on our land. We are now preparing to move into the structures and the buildings and the spaces that we need. We're going to be making some announcements in the coming weeks and months as those structures open up so that everyone is aware of how that process works. Many of you know already about the Treasury, the United States Treasury, in red and all lowercase letters that we have access. And so we're going to be doing the broad strokes first so that we can gain access to the things that we need and the resources that we need as a nation so that we can continue to come together. Thank you so much for that, Empress Jonaya. It's key for us in terms of the vanguard and law enforcement. Because, see, we can talk about laws and all of that stuff all day long, but if we're not healthy enough to put that forward,
The health and the mindset. They go together.
And the mind. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they go together. The mindset is even more important because if the mind is right, the body's going to follow.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So thank you so much for that, Empress. At this time, I also now want to introduce, and I'm not really good with introductions, but I'm going to do the best that I can. Justice Abdullah Talib Mosey Bey, are you present here? You can star 6, that will unmute you if you're here. Hopefully he's not having any issues where muting and unmuting is concerned. Sometimes that can be an issue. Justice Abdullah Talib Mosey Bey. Okay. Justice Wassay. Justice Wassay Bey, are you here? If you are, star 6 so that we can hear from you. Justice Wassay. And okay. And then Justice Georamur. We want to hear from Justice Georamur as well. Justice Georamur, are you here? And the others, Justice Abdullah and Justice Wassay, if you are able to either unmute or send me a message somehow so that we can make sure that we hear you, please do so. Justice Georamur, I yield the floor.
Islam. I don't have a lot to say, but the words I say, you know, they're always loaded because I've listened to Empress Delilah, passe, and Empress Jonaya, and I agree with the things that they're talking about. Those things are absolutely essential, which just tells you if those are essential and all the other things are essential, we have a lot of essentials to deal with. Simply put, the way I see the empire coming back together is from the top down. And the top down is the mindset of every single Moor that is.
Hey, Georamur, you're the one that sounds like you're loaded. Got some ripple there, Georamur?
We will be able to get things quiet after a while. But, you know, they always want to make noise. Islam. So, with the mindset that has to be in everyone, and that is both the Moors and the subjects, is that they have to work from the upstairs to the downstairs, so you go as high as they can and then start working from there. Because again, if the mind is right, like was said twice, everything is right. And if the mind isn't right, well, you could forget everything else. It's going to be the same stupid stuff that we've been doing, not only for the last 200 years, but for the last 5,000 years we've been descending to that place. To get the growth which we are getting, we must all be mindful of who it is that we're speaking to when we're speaking to the sovereigns. We're speaking to ourselves, because I am you, you are me, and every one of us are in fact the one. And so we must do the best job of getting ourselves lifted up, because when we do that, we lift everything up with us. A rising tide lifts all that is on it. And that's where we have to be. With that in mind, study is very important. Study self, then study self some more. That's just Noble Drew Ali's counsel. And if we study self and we know self, then we have no problem knowing everything else, because we are everything, just that we think we're individual, and we're not. We're actually the whole thing in a body. And so, with that in mind, Moors, when you know right, you must do right. And if you don't know right, then study self. And you'll get to that point where you do right because you know right. When we're there and we're doing that constantly, nowhere in the worlds, will there be any suffering and lack and tears for whatever. So just know that, it's all on the one. So each of us, we're the one. And if we fix us, then everything's fixed. And until we've fixed us, everything is in the process of being fixed. Even and some people on here will know it, the high-level freed Masonics, they say, when the fixed, F-I-X-E-D, is there, then they know. You know, we know what it's all about. And by the way, I'm not even a low-level freed Masonic, but I am of the highest level Masonic, as are all of you. Islam.
Thank you, Justice Georamur, for that. It brought so many things to mind with regard to where we're going as a nation. I'm glad that we're all here, because where we're going to need to know how to get there undeterred, undistracted. There have been some attempts to distract us, but this is a law enforcement peace unification summit. Are we distracted that easily or not? It's a test. It's a test. How are we doing on that test? How are we doing? Because when you talk about law enforcement, are we able to keep our focus on the event at hand so that we can stay maintaining our bearing and also staying focused on what's best for the nation? Because this whole initiative is about our nation and what's best for it. We know that this is an area, law enforcement and peacekeeping. We know that that's an area that has been a sore spot for many on the land. We know that. And that's the reason why we're grabbing it by the horns, as it were. Because it's time for us to manage ourselves and govern ourselves and police ourselves. And with that comes a right mind, having our minds right, and then also unity in our how we look, and unity in how we present ourselves. So from this point, one of the things that I wanted to discuss is what changes for us. What is it that's going to make this time different from all the other times in the past, if there be any other time? What makes today and what we're doing now different from 1928? What is it that guarantees that we're going to continue as a nation and as the law on the land? What it is that's going to make us continue is first going to be coming together as one and not allowing any distractions to stop us from continuing to stay focused on our unity. There are going to be attempts to distract. There have been attempts to distract, and guess what? We keep going. We keep going. We're not going to stop. We're going to continue. I want to now yield the floor to someone that we have been keeping an eye on, because first and foremost, because he is our brother, and secondly, because he's doing all the right things where law enforcement is concerned. Is Grantor Belton? Are you present, Grantor Belton? Star 6, please, if you can. Grantor Belton.
Yes, I can hear you.
Great, great. So
yes,
we want to just yield the floor to you. We're so glad you're here, and thank you for coming, Islam.
Oh, Islam, respects to you all, and I thank you humbly for having her. And I do apologize. I had a family member that had passed, and I owe that to respect you all because of your time. And, of course, we're private about families, but, today she visited and had the grandchildren with her, 3 of them. And when she got the news, she broke down. So I had to take care of the grandchildren. And, of course, they don't know what's going on. So I do apologize. I'm here now. So thank you. So I will start by and being brief. The situation that has been with law enforcement is, of course, people that were first responders. I don't know if my deputy is present. Is my deputy available? I don't know if I had him on the line with Elder.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, all right, just keep mute, and I thank you. That's Brother Deputy Abu. He's a senior. He's a retired Marine, and he worked also as a retired military, in the police military. So he's retired now. He's 70 years young. So he's the eldest active marshal, and he's the world clerk, worked diligent with I. So I do thank you, Brother Abu. Can you just say hello? Then I'll get to, or respects to them, I'll get to the message or the transmission.
Respect, family. This is Aboriginal Marshal Abu Benu Bay.
All righty.
I appreciate being here with you. And I'm going to let the general have the floor.
All righty. Thank you. All righty. So we'll start briefly. It's been a psychological situation, and sometimes you have, we'll piggyback off of certain things that we talked about. But this is a new day, and I know that some that may be wrestling or struggling in their spirit, whether they think Biden is the president or not. Nothing that begats by ill will intent will sustain. There has been a revelation over here that these people were actually pondering or conjuring up straight up acting news, where they would go in the room and put together whatever they did, clones or whatever type situation. So what you're looking at on all mediums, make certain that you know what's right. And these people that are not speaking in memorandum that pertains to their status, then it is what it is, okay? You cannot in any kind of way be taken by what is not defined to do what you want to be done, okay? These people, when we're talking in terms of the enforcement, EN, remember, is meaning to not be, okay, inadequate. See, enforcement. They were never forcing law. They were at their own discretion. And, of course, they were not entirely guilty themselves in the beginning when all of this started. The colonies needed help. As I did tell you all before, that I have a very, very beautiful, loving book that I found out about, and you may take time and go on the internet and you can pull this down. and this is the Virginia Company of London, 1606, 1624. And it talks about their lawful dissolution. They were dissolved, 100%. And what happened is people that lie know that there was a people that was honest, and they don't care. So they'll lie to you in your face. This ain't nothing new. This was going to be a great echo in the background. Something happening. What we have to comprehend is that in the beginning, what was defined to be was corrupted. It may have had good intent, but let's look at it like this. The Constitution of the United States, okay, yes, we're talking about the 1871 or the 1781, that particular situation back in the day. You had different type of origins, different people saying certain things. So now you got Donald Trump that made his stance in March. You know, Deputy reminded I today, we sent us some loving news reaffirming that there was a new Declaration of Independence on July the 4th, 2020. A constitutional republic came in, okay, per the United States Corporation. That declaration had to be made by them, for them, okay, by them and for them. Now, when you talk in terms of a republic, remember republic means to not be public. Okay? So the entire law enforcement issue has been a disillusionment where we knew that if you go into a house that don't pertain to you, well, you're going to most likely, you would hope to have hospitality, the hospitable gestures made to you, but that is not. These people were defined as slavers. Okay? That's what they intended, and they went into a municipal operation. And municipal operations declared people to be products, which we know ain't nothing new. We just running this situation down. It's a peculiar institution. So they're not caring about whether you love or
fucking smoke detector,
whether you pray.
dickhead.
I know you can get off the phone. You a bum. As I said, you can get off the phone, and I'm going to be after you. You a jerk. All right, you can call me directly at any time. You a bum. And don't nobody be scared of this jackass. And what you can do is y'all can go ahead on and start, track him down. Exactly. You can talk all you want. The marshal is on the phone, sucker. And you can come to Perseverando anytime that you want to. 804-300-5500 is my number. All right? And I'll meet you anywhere. Like I said, you a jerk. You mad because you a failure. You should have did something not coming on the land in 1450. You a trespasser. You ain't got no home. What you need to do is go get some seeds and take your rocks back. If you got so much to do, build something on your rocks where you came from. You a jerk, and you curse to death in the name of your Jesus. Ain't nobody scared of you, jerk. All right, I'm an extension to the secretary's office, and I got a trace on your line now.
He's off the line, Noble. I believe
okay, thank you. Exactly, and I wanted that to be a record because I want y'all to understand that they know that you're right, and he don't have no power. Nobody has no power but you. And we all of these bombs over here that's doing all of this paper and all of this stuff, they ain't got no power. None. This is why they've been over here, because they decided to believe their line mothers and fathers that were thieves in the beginning. It will never change. And I'm not changing my subject. I'm glad that terrorist was able to come in. Because, see, I jump on him immediately. I wouldn't talk to a trustee or an obligor or someone like that. But when he rose up, that's a lost puppy in the snow that ain't got no home. All righty? That's what he mad about. And let him go ahead on and take his dog chain and run and continue to, and he'll get yanked by any type of whatever they want to sell his ass. Excuse my expression, because that's what's going to happen. All righty? So now, we in the business, as I said, of making certain that our constitutional republic is 100% pure. And we got to go after all these terrorists. Don't you focus a lot on trying to get what you want to get. Your land is infected. And one thing about Donald Trump from a Caucasian perspective, he did say he was going to do his best. okay, on that side. I don't know everything he has done, but he has done good things, so I don't make his operation my day-to-day. I don't like to meet eyes with other administrators and enforcement because I'm not a copycat. I need to take care of what I need to take care of. I need to design a specific situation for this medium of exchange that we are to have with people that have been brought up on a trespass. So I comprehend what Trump wanted, and we're going to help him because right now you have his particular new states of American Republic. And again, everybody knew that it was a trust that was set up on a republic. All continents wants to be free. So any jackbutt, excuse my expression, talking today or some grand wizard or master on the land, if they talk enslaving or enforcing statutes or whatever on people, it's a terrorist. It ain't no more we allow so-called people to think that they queens and whatever else or goddesses or emperors or some type of president of an entity. If your entity is violating people, you or that not, excuse me, not, and not no one on this line, I hope not, that one will have a problem. Okay? Terrorism is very real. So you just didn't have a white situation like him. See, the reason why he came in on the line, because he's connected to somebody as a lost double. So, you know, check yourself. But the point is that you see that I was able to exercise the spirit. And the spirit is, one, for one, no one was going to help us to come back in this fullness pertaining to the enforcement. Respects be to Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali. He did make a statement that we must hold ourselves accountable domestically and internationally foreign. Okay? So it's not about the brother or the sister next to you. It's about what you are doing. Your first of enforcement, your port is your body, your vessel. And you must shine your beacon light, not hold whatever nation or whatever else responsible. Yes, okay. Hold for a minute. So much stuff happening. Now I'm going to share one more thing with y'all. Okay, I have deputies coming and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it's no problem. Stay right there, please. All right.
Mm-hmm. Islam.
Come on, Anthony. Yes. So this is what's taking place. That within our country, in our lands, you have people that have infected every single thing that you want to deal with as far as the education or, in essence, what enforcement is. The United States was never enforcing. They was never in. They was in enforcement. They was not at forcing. They were only managing their specific intent. And our people helped them because you could see how things are laid out. Like the elder said, since 1928, hey, that's a good little ways back. It ain't yesterday. It ain't, you know, too far as an ancient. But what we were to accomplish was knowing that we are law enforcement, okay, and that we're transmitting to people that are trespassing, that are under default. It ain't nothing good that can come from that other than you telling them what to do. If they do not comprehend as a non-compos mentis, then that one in essence is what? At default. So our law enforcement in terms was to manage a lost people, a bankruptcy, not intermingle. We were never to integrate. And that has been the problem with the education. Like right now, some people wouldn't agree with I have ex-FBI, ex-CIA, ex-NSA, only because someone needed to speak. So we wasn't meeting. That's another thing that the elder was talking about before I come on the phone, not entirely, but just spinning off what she's saying. You got to have people to meet each other. They got to talk to each other. See, so if you two black face on here and you two white face on there, you're not going to look for the commonality because black over there and white over there. You see, and it may be something on that line or that can do it, which was worked out for us. So it ain't so much been white and black issues. Excuse me for a minute. Hey, excuse me for a minute. It's not white and black issues. It is a situation where there are people that have an intent, as she stated, to sabotage or try to mess up or whatever. Okay? But those of us that are talking, I can assure you, by I'm doing this, I did what I needed to do so that we can begin to communicate. And you'd be surprised, some of the people that was working on that side, They wanted to do this, but they couldn't. So they took a job, and I was hard on them too, thinking that they faking, being hard on them, saying that they this and that. But you never trust anybody, okay? Trust is very sacred, but you can have confidence in some people more than others. So when these people came, I can tell you this much, that people that got a background in law enforcement from the U.S., some of them outperformed some of the Aboriginal marshals coming because they were already at doing a specific mindset of extracting, wants. So you got that type of mindset. So as an Aboriginal, you want to be able to get your stuff done, but think about it, just like a U.S. Marshal, FBI, whatever, they got to go to work and help somebody else. Now, you can benefit from it, but what we are doing is we want to separate people from people that may not want to specifically be at enforcement. And then you got a person that may not be at law enforcement that want to handle their matters or their affairs, sui juris. That's great. You could still accomplish that. But we all have to comprehend one thing, that there has to be a new proceeding, a new process. And that's what I'm introducing or sharing with people, because it's not about how much more knowledge you have. These are simple issues of, I ain't got time to meet with him, or I'm embarrassed to talk with him, or we're not going to meet. And it hadn't been. Every type of meeting that you have, or that I inspected, was somebody that was halfway conscious meeting with the police as they wanted to, or the police, in essence, halfway on this. It hadn't been serious people that can sit. So when I got now enforcement of people that have X badges from other places, what it does is they go to bat for you. You need some type of help sometime. And it shames them because I took their people in. And certain Aboriginal people told me, hey, well, why would you do that? They this and that. Man, be quiet. Calm yourself for a minute. Listen. Now, if they already inside, okay, then it's going to put the blame on him. If you've been the captain over all these colorable law people, like one person that I took in, they were a person that was over a black association of police. Okay? I'm talking about nationally. He wasn't an Aboriginal, but he came. Now, people might say, well, did somebody send him? Look at him like this. If they came to be sent, then they're going to take on the blessings or the curse that they're looking for. I have a transparent situation. Ain't nothing hidden. You can't turn anything over. You can't look for anything. You can't set anybody up. You got to be what you are pertaining to the letters and numbers. You pledge not to injure, and you pledge not to commit fraud. And you go out and you make the world a better place. Okay? That's basically what didn't take place with law enforcement. The enforcement that you've been used to is a corporate sector. And please forgive me because I'm getting all type of calls. I don't know if you can hear it, but anyway, I will continue. I'm mixing. I'm going to stay to my time. We were talking about 10 minutes. But the enforcement that you have been dealing with and the frustrations did not want to tell you that their people told them to take your equity and there's nothing that they can do for you because, again, they're not at commercial law. Trump just took them back to that. The colonial sector. So when these blacks talking all of this stuff, they've been looking at us. Respects due to what maybe you have been doing or contributing. They didn't know about the republic. See, so now I got to put something else out to let them know that was taken care of in 2005. You got blacks saying, oh, yeah, Trump, and he my president. No, you that's good. Respects if you're happy. Okay. It's a better situation than what you may have had, but it's still not in its proper situation. So it's always been halfway conveyances, halfway definitions. This one, let me give you an example, as I said before. You had Cindy K. Carrier, no disrespect if anybody connected to her. She's born, or I don't know if she was born here, but she went to school here, Perseverando. The state of Virginia is on paper. So I got to lean on Perseverando. The Great Seal is in the Secretary's book that says that that's the government. So what all the colonial sectors did, I didn't forget about Cindy K. Carrier, is that at the domestic level where the 13 colonies was, they had republic seals where distinguish us from ever being under that and somebody telling you that you got to get something straight. It was a lie, so they hid it. And you had certain people that was elders that knew about it and didn't want to promulgate it because some of our Moorish people, and I had the charts too, got the Pacific landmass or ancient territories on the map. Okay? Why is that there? That predates the 13 original colonies. Hey, we ain't talking about, back, 5, 10, 7, 8,000 years. We talking about just 100 and some, years, and you had a republic seal. So in the Secretary's office, they made that declaration right there. The only republic that's been installed in the mindset of D.C. or in Washington, D.C. is the people that has never been in a republic and know that they came over here to dismantle. So it ain't nothing nice, ain't nothing respectful to someone that is in a collegial fraternal order that is under a trespass. So don't get confused when you hear that Donald Trump brought back in the republic on March 2017. The State of American Republic, new nation declared, new world, not new world order. He has a new nation, national states for free people or free people. State of America. Now, I'm going to check him out. Maybe some of y'all know, but he set up a corporation to sort of facilitate republic maneuvers. I don't know how that happened, but anyway, it seems like he got it in his mind. So we don't know whether this one or that one is that, and we're not going to wait for them to define anything. Nothing. That don't work that way. We have our presence here, and it is pre-colonial. It ain't no I got to present a seal to you. It ain't no I got to go get a flag for you, because in all of their Oxford definitions, it describes you with your woolly hair and your charred skin, copper tone, burnt black skin. That's the one who carries the title on the landmass, and that's going to be superior. And just like the lost puppy that was trying to assert himself, being white, okay, he wasn't a Caucasian or somebody that was admitting that he had a disease. I got medicine for him, if y'all can get to him. But, of course, he'll go lily in his mind because they are liars. Anybody that works at the state that go for so-called people to look like you too, if they are not telling you the proper thing that is necessary, then they're a liar. So they have been under bankruptcy, and they needed somebody to manage their bankruptcy. That's the colorable law. It ain't the United States Bankruptcy Court. It's us. See, so they twisted, as I said before. I'm not naive, but I do thank y'all. I don't want to go any further. I want to make certain that I'm sensitive to the issue and empathetic to everyone.
Justice, you have the floor. Go ahead. You can continue because some of the speakers took a shorter amount of time than the 10 minutes. So go ahead.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I wanted y'all to be aware of that. So the definition pertaining to you, and some people, they really struggle with this as I talk to certain Moors or certain people that are Aboriginal. They really, really, for real, struggle with the fact that Biden or somebody went into a capacity. It was not yours. You got all the power. So what we're going to do is stop trying to get them to perform, and we'll get up to speed, and we'll do our thing. And what we would do is shame the states as they were to find to do with the Aboriginal. The drip is for us. If they didn't acknowledge it, that's fine. They are under recognized status, meaning that they're subject to it, whether they like it or not. Okay?
Yes.
And in the drip, the Ignor Veritas, that university that I'm connected to through the Templars and the Pope, we train them, or I got 2 Templars that I did train. It's still active. Still a part of that Sovereign Court of International Justice, but they was not launching anything for the Aboriginal, indigenous. So I've talked to them, the Templars, we talking this and that, that's fine, but I ain't seen none, no disrespect. I'll keep my program on. So what they were doing, as I've stated, that certain Europeans were acting like they were structuring stuff, and they still was putting jealous, lost puppy in there. You see? He lost. He mad because you done found out that his sleeves is up in your stuff. I'm not being racist. I'm saying to you that they got a problem, whoever that one is. See, it ain't that we got to be nice. We have not lived the way we wanted to on our land from day one. It was encumbered when we had the knowledge of the origin of a so-called republic form government. Whoever was in charge or whoever went back to the Algonquin, that particular Great Seal Law and Peace, before that, those Moors, going back to Powhatan and all of the other dark skins that came, that was at the river at James or Williamsburg when they came. it makes it very clear in this book right here. Some Christians did a great job. They put this book together, and they got in here that the state of Virginia is straight fraud. They don't own the land. That's why I got the book, and I'm running the office that the secretary is supposed to run. I served them 2 weeks ago on the natural and international common law indictment where they were found guilty by the international criminal court that I'm reading it right there. Pass it out. I'll make certain that you all get it or people pass it out. And what that is that they were found guilty for 5G development, not putting it up and somebody getting fried afterwards. The law states, not the law, as they say the law, lying. The natural law, the American law, is the land law. That law says nothing could be created with the intent to injure. There can't be no public hazardous designs. How in the hell was you able to get a patent for 5G? Only a damn terrorist would have wrote the paper. So all he did is effectuated that date, and he wrote it up where you can go and get them. You don't have to get like, oh, well, this and that. You can handle them with the paper because the forces are now responding, and eventually we will get to that. But the fact is that the devil just wanted to know if you could see him. And now he's seen. And he running down the street, somebody smacking him, and he not used to that. Now somebody tripping him up. Where the hell is the power at? What is going on? Okay, I thought you not. You are a bum. And the Pope said it 100%. The Pope stated that this particular landmass belongs to the Aboriginal and Indigenous people, and his office is valid because from that office was the legal enactments, the illegal decrees of trespass that they initiated. And this is what so-called misterm African American or Black America, they won't go get it. But certain people, it even flew by the Aboriginals. What that got to do with us? Listen, brother, I had a vision. This is what's happening. The Pope, to put it to you straight, I had to give them a vision. The beast came up on the shore, exhausted. Think about a nasty big beast in the sea. Nobody can handle. Now he's up on the shore, gasping for breath, tongue hard, no wetness to his mouth, and he confesses that this is your land. We are here illegally. That's what took place. And it won't for them to call you to say we're going to do the paperwork and get it right. It's a jackass that's in your house that was supposed to tell you at the time of accountability or when you begin to be sui juris sound-minded that I'm in the back room in your house. Your mother left this to me to take care of you, though. This is your estate. How many children are not told that when they turn 18? How many people are told that when they go to college, when they come home? Grandmother, grandfather gone, and he's still in the house, and the uncle never told him that the house and the estate was left to you. No, he got him thinking, it's my house. And he want to mess with the papers and then go all around the world and get credit in your name and then get mad with you and then threaten he going to lock you down in your basement if you don't act right in your own house. So this is not proper. This is not right. And I never dealt with anything in racism or hatredism. I've never had that type of language because that's what a distracting bastard, meaning that he don't have no mother and father. Because if he did, he wouldn't be disrespecting people who do have that. And they don't understand nobility and they don't have principles. You're dealing with hustlers that want to make money. And anytime you're dealing with somebody that all they keep talking about is billions, walk off from them because they are nothing but players. The Creator did not put us on this planet to be valuing each other and shaking each other down and acting like this. We had all of these people around the world do this to us. We ought to start looking at each other as respect, as people, as beings, not money. Okay? We'll get to that. And that's sacred because that can get you in a lot of trouble. Okay? If you don't know what to do. You see? So that's another issue. But the critics now, they will be coming, meaning that what Trump took place, it may take maybe around March. Some think that they're going to stretch out until June. And there was accuracy. They was talking about people, I can't say everything, but there are nations that have assured this republic. They're not listening to that Biden stuff. They telling you straight it ain't that way because even a man of Biden stature, not so much on him, but what man could look at his wife or his family or his mother or his children knowing that somebody pull up that he defrauded, not won the race because he won't in it. He set up a scam, and the people in forensics was able to bring this to the people, and they continued to posture as though nothing happened. That's the same thing that happened to the world government with Dr. Lowy Zaduk or Larry Shelton. Now I'm going to move on to another subject on that note. These people, I'm telling you now, that one of the biggest scams is being busted, and I'm going to tell y'all for the record, you want to stay away from Larry Shelton, all right? I don't know who got him running, but what he did, and I'm going to tell you this because this is one thing about dealing with the Caucasian, but see, he know this, and he'll cut a deal with a black devil that's homeless because both of them get ready to go to hell. But the dummy that's black don't believe that he's being set up because he believes his black ass is Jesus. Excuse my expression. Now, let me tell y'all what's happening. All right? Now, they'll wait for you to come into an arena, and these guys are planning 2 or 3 years ahead to try to wrap you up and get you locked up on your own stuff. This is what they're doing with the world government right now. I got a report that Lowy or Larry Shelton, which I found out from the Treasury because both of us deep, we with the FINRA, we with the Federal United States Treasury. We was on the phone with them today and yesterday, and we're securing it. Lowy Zaduk got an auditing company, or at least trying to act like it. And what he wanted to do was the fake monies that he put in people's wallet, audit it as though that they used it illegally. All righty? But what the dummy forgot is that the blockchain got to be executed by what you do. Okay? So he forgot. Yeah. When I put on television that it was 200 million and 900 million that the Seminole Practice Sons of Van and Lex Jews put as your priesthood gave or transmitted to him conditionally for the general fund, the 900 million was for the chaplaincy. And I got both receipts for it. And instead of him, when he got caught, this is how they do when you catch some type of figure that's on everybody, they want to try to turn it around and make it look like, oh, somebody did it, and that's it. He can't deal with it. So who busted him? NSA, former Department of State. I'm in the room, and we had former or either active U.S. Marshal. Okay? Now, when we went and busted him, what he did is what any terrorist would do. Instead of apologizing, you see what I'm saying? As I said, they continued to go forth. He did the same thing that I said to you. And he went forth. So what he's doing is trying to file papers. But see, I didn't use any of his play money. I got $30 million in the wallet right now. That don't mean nothing to me because I got way more than that. And it's not nothing to brag on. It's because his nasty puppy dog hands been on it. And so when you keep talking about a certain product and it's misused, it's going to connect to people who are not good. Don't use it. Leave it alone. So, they want you to think. Yeah, excuse me. I'm listening to you.
No. There were a couple of the Moors in the chat who wanted to ask a couple of questions.
Okay, and yes, please.
Did you want? Okay, but and I'll say this to the ones who have questions: limit your questions to law enforcement issues and things that have to do with the bloodline and the birthright as law enforcement on the land and as government on the land. I believe Empress Jonaya, you had a question, and we do want to again keep the questions within the boundaries of this summit.
Yes, Islam, Noble Belton.
Yes, Islam, respect to your family.
Is, have you already got setting up a process or some kind of procedures for the Moors to get in touch with you, or how we can implement and enforce the law in our territory without you? Because we know you cannot get to all the other territories, but some guidelines to help guide the Moors in our different territories to implement and enforce the law themselves. Are you?
Yes, that's very well put and specifically answered. Yes, there is a fundamental elementary, I put it that way because we've been bombarded by too much stuff. So I have a very simple elementary process that would be modeled at every domestic situation, as I was talking about the original 13 colonies. So there is a model, and I would make certain that I would stay in contact with please forgive me, Taraji Bay.
Tajiri.
And
Tajiri.
Okay, please forgive me. And yes, and Sister Shaba chopper bay. Okay, and we'll make certain that we will facilitate that. That is the matter. I have it already in place, and it's just a fundamental adjustment on the psychologics, and we'll try to get in mediums that are secured, because we don't want to be, plagiarizing and people trying to press up and all that stuff. We need real serious people, so we'll make certain, please you all, those ones that ask those questions, that we'll prioritize them, and I make certain I respect the vouch system, those who introduce, because that's very, very sacred as well. And we'll make sure we'll be in touch.
Islam. I'll camelback on that. Guidelines for implementing law enforcement in the territory is as follows, from a very basic perspective. Nationality first. Declare your nationality on the public record in that territory, and notify all who are attempting to pretend to be law enforcement. Notify them all. That's number one, because that's the most important thing, is you need to notify that you're even there. Okay. Secondly, you need to terminate, and this is from our perspective. Not all agree with this, but we agree because we know who we're dealing with. Terminate all corporate contracts with the fraud. Terminate it immediately, because those contracts that they have, I don't care if it's a driver's license or whatever it is, that is how they get in and do all of the infections and the madness. That's how they do that. Is they use one contract that's left hanging out there, and they come in through that contract and start doing all types of other stuff that seems unrelated, but it is absolutely related, 100% related. And then from a third perspective, number 3 in that list of guidelines for implementing law enforcement in your territory is demonstrate your nationality peacefully and competently at all times. Demonstrate your nationality peacefully and competently at all times, whether you're in the grocery stores or wherever you're at. Demonstrate your nationality, because right now, those that were attempting to do things unlawfully, they will stand down when we're peaceful and competent. We're all living witnesses to that. We've seen where they stand down where the Moors are concerned, myself included, even as late as today. As of yesterday even, myself and some of the Moors here at Moorish American Consulate West gathered the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1786, decapitalized it and put it in red in all lowercase letters. And we took it down to Olympia, which is the quote-unquote capital of this territory. And it's the capital according to us as well, and that's actually what really makes it the capital for us. So we took the treaty down there and gave it to the United States Corporation Company military, from our hands to one of their officers' hands, so that they know peacefully that we know who we are, they're on our land, and that they are well aware that they're on our land, and that we are the law and we are the government on the land, and not them. And they took it and did exactly what they were supposed to do with it.
Yes.
So again, even when we went down there, the state patrol, the quote-unquote state patrol corporation, and some of the empresses that were there with us will tell you this happened, and they actually noticed it before I did. But the state patrol even, they've locked all the citizens out of the Capitol there. And we posted an article in the newspaper that was printed in their newspaper. We put that article up in one of our group chats, stating that they had locked all of their quote-unquote legislators out, and they said no citizens are to come in. And even while we were down there, the state patrol beckoned us to come in onto the property.
Yeah.
Again, though, Moors, we made it clear that we went in. One of the empresses is in the chat. Justice Simone Selke-El was there. Justice Amor Michelle Bay was there as well, and Justice Amos Hotep Bay was there as well. And we handed them the treaty. We were beckoned on to the property so that we could look around, and we saw exactly what we needed to see. We were dressed in our military Moorish sovereign uniforms, like the one that you see that I posted on social media and that I'm wearing now. It bears the sovereign flag of the Moors. It does say peacekeeper in white in all lowercase letters, in red in all lowercase letters. And we went there specifically on a peacekeeping mission, and that mission was accomplished. So our job from this point is to continue to do that. Continue to be peaceful. Continue to do exactly what we came to do, which is stand as law and as government peacefully and competently, and continue to nation build among each other here. Grantor Belton, we honor all of the work that you've done because you've been in this for a very long time, and we honor the work that you're doing. It is definitely honorable work, and especially I was most impressed that you're aware of the spirituality of what we're dealing with, because some can only see in the natural, but you can see the spiritual aspect of this. And that's it. Once you get the spiritual part, the natural will be a lot easier.
Oh, yes. Yeah, for sure. You're right.
So we want to stay focused on nation building, and just for the record, we do not recognize any government on this land that is not of the bloodline and birthright of the original and aboriginal Moorish Americans. We do not recognize any government that is foreign, hybrid government. We don't recognize any of that. Corporations cannot govern at all in any capacity, and that's according to the law. If we want to, and Justice Grantor Belton, we know what you said. We agree 100% with what you said, specifically regarding we have to do things ourselves if we want any honorability to be in it. Yes. We have to do our own court, be our own law enforcement if there's to be any honor in it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, 100%.
And that is what this summit is all about, is returning the honor to the land.
Yes. Yeah.
Only we can do that.
Correct.
So that hopefully, Empress Jonaya, that answers your question in regard to where to start, where guidelines for implementing law enforcement in the territories. That is a beautiful question. Thank you for it, because that is the purpose of this, is so that each in the territory can go ahead and implement, leave this summit with a plan on how to implement law enforcement in your territory. Ensure that when you get, yes, in the chat, Justice C. Petit L, who's doing an awesome job of law enforcement at Detroit Territory. These are congressional records that are being made. And right now, with regard to our uniforms, ensure that the flag is over your heart on your uniform. And ensure that they say peacekeeping in red in all lowercase letters. And the reason we do red and lowercase letters is because we honor the laws in Capitis Diminutio. And in Capitis Diminutio Nolo is what we do, whereas the foreigners do in Capitis Diminutio Minima, in Capitis Diminutio Maxima, etc. And so we know that is the way to express ourselves so that we are inviolable. They can't violate us when we do that. And then also the paper documents. The paper documents, they clear the way for the movement that we make. We are, as the nobility on the land, to notify first And we generally notify 3 times simply because that is a Masonic gesture. It's lawful to notify 3 times before we make our movement. But once we notify by sovereign affidavit what we're doing, then movement ensues, and it ensues unencumbered. Period. And that is something for the territory to note in your law enforcement. And we do use ancient English when we write out our documents, and ancient English is any spelling that is different from the corporate spelling. Different means a different color because they always use black, so we always use red. Different means different in capitalization because capitalization is a way to make money off of something. So we don't use capital letters, we use all lowercase letters. And we know capital means capital one way or the other. It still means the same.
Correct.
And then also, a different spelling is adding an E on the end or adding, if the word starts with a vowel, then let that vowel be followed by 2 consonants, etc. So ancient English spelling, all other languages came from ancient English, which they purport to be Latin.
Yeah.
And
correct.
so as we're writing out our documents in the territories where law enforcement is concerned, those are some of the guidelines for implementing law enforcement in your territory. Empress Jonaya, does that help with answering the question on where to start? We always start everything we do at nationality, and then we terminate the corporate contracts on the public record, and then we demonstrate. With us, we follow up our termination of corporate contracts with liens, sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine liens. And we do them on Moorish government letterhead, which all Moors can use. It doesn't matter what nation you're with. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're of the bloodline and birthright, you can use Moorish government letterhead for whatever it is that you're doing, in red and all lowercase letters. And then we follow up our liens with sovereign Moorish American consular court actions because there is diversity of nationality there.
Correct.
And so whenever there is diversity of nationality, the consul must decide between those 2. And that's according to the treaty and according to sovereign law. It is we, and all Moors are consuls and judges and justices on their own land. They get to call the lawful shot.
That's right.
And so we're not mad at anybody, but we justice rules and reigns on this land. We are justice, period. And as long as we keep coming together like we're coming together now, we're unstoppable. Unstoppable. No one can stop us. We got each other's back on everything, no matter what it is. Islam. And so I yield, Justice. I didn't want to take up any more of your time as well. Continue, Noble, if you want to continue with because you're giving us some great nuggets here, Grantor Belton.
All right, and I would say that everything that the elders are sharing with you all, that's beautiful. You have people that is in place, and as I said, I have a common style in enforcement. Remember, you have your stead, your sovereign, what you do and how you do it. You stay with that pertaining to your nation.
Hey, Grantor Lamont, why don't you fucking lean down?
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand exactly. You can talk all you want, dog. I ain't worrying about you. Get off the phone and go ahead on and milk yourself, cow. That's what you can do. You got the address. But anyway, thank you. Correct. Exactly. So here we go. Now, here we go. And as I said, this is the power. All right? And we great. See, because when you do this, you bring people out that's hurting. See, he's hurting bad. So let's continue to keep on and giving them. Because, see, this is going into the ears of other people. See what I'm saying? So he's on record as a Caucasian. See, he has proven himself someone who's from elsewhere that's misrepresenting his people. And he ain't even got no respect for his own people. See? because if he did, he wouldn't, or she wouldn't, but whatever it is, wouldn't be so cursed. I'm loving it that he's in pain, all right? And I'm going to continue to force his pain upon him. So let me continue to share with you all right? What you're saying is completely good, because your nation or any nation of people, you have your origin. That's what I express. I said, whatever matters that you have or your style, you want to continue to keep that, okay? And when you engage with anyone, the people that we were engaging with is the domestic level. That's all. These people that were Christians, you know, like the devil that's lost, you know, I'm going to put them in hell, you know, eventually. The one that's, you know, keep on. This is what they do. You see, they never had any intent at all. We just caught up. See, so as I stated, a grown person, and I'm going to play with him because I know he's listening. You see, he's less than testosterone. He is cursed. His vibration is. See, tonight he is going to suffer, and the people that's connected to him, because he obviously has someone who is in his mind that he wants to prove to that he, in essence, is diseased. So he has made that announcement, and the people on this landmass, we are alive, we're well, like Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali said. The sick men of Asia, I say, hey, to us, we are no longer. We got the medicine, for we are well. Okay? We have returned to our consciousness. And our consciousness is that you are at the commercial table and you have your nation. And at that line of what you call coming together, you, in essence, would be able to manage that particular trustee if they want to be, because they're under trespass. They can't do nothing else but for you, the better or the good. And as she stated, whatever lien or levy or whatever situation is in place, it was only for us. The only secured party creditor is the First Nation people, because you do not put your land at risk, and you had to have something to back it. So all of this stuff pertaining to, even though the gold, that's good, we comprehend that, but that was for them. We don't need anything. The foreigner needed to present himself to. The foreigner needs to be indemnified. The foreigner must ask and pray for petition on whether he's going to be a recipient of diplomacy. The pharmacy, I mean, that particular foreigner is that person. See, so they grew up with a nasty attitude, and that's what church taught them. See, and we got it. That's why I like the bastard that came back on the phone, because he's defining how messed up he is. Y'all are fine. Y'all are beautiful. Thank God that you are not him. Thank God that no wound spat some bastard out like that. Okay? Thank the Creator. See, that you are not sick with a disease like that one, that call. See? So I further his demise and his curse, because that's what he wants. And he can go and walk to the nearest bridge, and I said online, jump off. That's what you do. Make life better for you. See? That's what you can do, because we are here. See? We are going to be here. Always we have been here. Only good would be. All righty? And it ain't going to be no chumps or nobody crying anywhere. We are going to make certain that we keep ourselves respectful, and every damn terrorist on our landmass we're going to get. That's why I invited his ass. Did he give anything yet? Did he call anyway? Did he give me an address? My stuff is up there on the website. Go to Aboriginal Konsular Corp 19073.webs, chump, at any time, and you pick the date. All right? I don't have a problem. I ain't scared of no one. Always went where. All right? But you made the declarative statement. See, so your soul is damn, and I'm saying this because I want the nation and people to understand that you got the power. And when they come in and talk that way, he got cursed all kind of ways. His disease has increased. His kidneys, he's going to die painful, and if he don't repent tonight, he's going to set off a disease and a sickness among his own people in his own house. And it's sad if he got a wife and a daughter. It's sad if he got a son. Who would even allow somebody to crawl up on him? What bum, what slime ball would bring another in the world like this? Okay.
You know, I'm you know, one thing that I am appreciative of is that the men in our nation are true men, and that they don't care for anyone disrespecting their nation and the bloodline and birthright in that manner.
Correct.
as an a female, an empress and a female, as are all of the females and empresses, I do want to thank you for your protective abilities, and thank all of the heirs for their protective abilities. We tend to go a lot. We just boot them instead of having conversation with them. We just boot them and keep moving, because that's just, it's a waste of time, so to speak, for us to even go there. We don't entertain the energy, but our sons and brothers and we get it. We definitely get it, and we appreciate you so much for that. Grantor Belton, is there anything that you want to leave us with that is most important to you with regard to unity and the law enforcement and the peacekeeping, et cetera, et cetera? Is there anything that you want to leave with us with regard to those things for us to remember and take home and chew on?
Yes. Just simplify. Remember to stay with the precepts or the traditions that you have. And remember that you just are opening up to engage at a common medium. We may not even have secretaries that we can talk to. We're just going to have to be talking directly to enforcement and the people that take these directives from people that were terrorists. Keep that in mind, okay? And also the researches that you do, again, that you have like extrajudicial type processes or proceedings amongst different jurisdictions. So make certain that you be empathetic and feel other people that may not be like you, and they may be up here to assist you, and know that there is a great multitude of people everywhere that wants liberty and freedom. Remember, we at liberty. The freed, that's them. Dom, under. See, they was released. We the ones that got the Phrygian cap, which is the ancient cap of the noble that taught the ones that was on the Pallius cap of ancient Rome. Those the freed Masons or freed people. We are not freed. We ain't never been slaves. We always been at liberty. We just had a situation where people wanted to steal bodies. So as a Seminole, we are not what you call, as a Seminole, you're not what you call a runaway. So I had to correct that. Yes. But on that note, you can't be running away in your own land. Yes. Hold on for a minute, please. Just give me 1 minute, please, so I can finish this out, close this out. You can't be chased. You can't be ran or labeled as that on your land. See, so these were things that we have to correct, as the elders say in your talking. I try to do the best that I can and simplify, because this is our land. And when I hear stuff like, oh, man, they stole our land, brother, you standing on the land. You got to stop talking like that. They ain't stealing nothing. Okay? If you standing on it, how in the hell did you telling him? Exactly. So just know that. And see, chaotic people like that because he ain't there. He's not there all the way. You got to wake your brother up, throw some ice on him or something. Get yourself together. You got everything. Your birth certificate proves that they indebted to you. And when they put the black on it, well, it's an amount. So that's what it is, and they indebted to performance. Why did they do that? Because they wanted to set up a smoke screen that this is your land. And they couldn't confess to it. So the only thing they could do is good to you. That's it. Anything contrary would be what? Your benefit too. Whether they don't do it, coming or going. Thank you all so much. And I do love y'all, and I respect you all. And make certain that the men that are out there, even the women, train, get yourself together. It's not about fighting, but keep yourself up. And again, as I said, these nations or different people that are foreign, when you posture wrong, ain't nobody backing down, as I said. Any of y'all got a problem, my number is up. That stuff is on the website for a reason. I might can't get to everybody, but I live openly. See what I'm saying? And if somebody wanted to, they can meet me right here on the side of this road, okay, at any time. All right? So I respect y'all. Thank y'all. And, one more thing. If you're able to get with local enforcement like the Vanguards and different ones that you got, we'll speak and we'll talk. But involve those bounty guys. Involve club bouncers. Just talk to them. Ask them to get a meeting and I can talk to them if they really want to help out. Big ball players, football players, all them guys, teenagers that can run fast, all that stuff. I'm ready to talk to them. okay? If they need help, even older people, all right, in their 60s and 70s, they still running. They still making babies. Everybody's still young. We still living. All good. All righty?
Islam. Thank you so much, Noble. We really appreciate you. We love you. We have your back, and we know that you have ours. We thank you, yes. And we're going to be having these unification summits, periodically, not all the time. It'll probably be once every quarter or once every 6 months, or however we're led by the ancestors. And so if you'll come back sometime in the future and enlighten us again and spread some of that awesome law enforcement energy with us, we would appreciate that.
Yes, and we're going to get together physically and soon, yes, so that we can have that exchange physically so that people can, get up to speed. And remember, as I said, what y'all got in place, you keep that. Please respect your elders and your brothers and your sisters. I don't come in changing about anything. This is just us having a meeting of an exchange, something that was put in military so that we can communicate and be pertinent to what is, what is specific. No more disillusionments.
Yes.
Okay.
Islam. We honor
respects
you.
to y'all. I honor you all too. And love to y'all. Peace and love. And you all have a good night, good rest. All right.
Yes, we will. Islam. Morris, there you have it. What can I say? We're doing all the right things. All the right things. Let's keep going. Islam. I believe.
Can you hear?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
I'd like to give the brother Belton honors for tonight. Nice greeting. I'm Amari Bay from D.C. territory. And hello?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I just wanted to add, and it's a beautiful time for us. This is the time for us to implement. We have everything that we need, and the only thing we have to do is to stick together, organize, and enforce the Constitution, and enforce our treaty, and enforce Article 6.
Yes.
Because they know out here. They know.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, we have two more nobles who absolutely we want to hear from.
I'll stand down.
Yes,
I'll stand down.
We love hearing from you, though, nobility. Thank you so much. I want to. We have the standing king of the Oyotunji people here, and we wanted to hear from him. Briefly, he was going to do a 7 to 10 minute talk for us as well. We just want to, again, this is about unification. And we want to ensure that we unify, etc. And we want to make sure that we include all. Are you here, Honorable King? Empress Alessandra, is he still here?
I'm texting him now to make sure.
Okay. While we're waiting, let's see. While we're waiting for him, the Oyotunji people have been here since time immemorial. And they have land, and their kingdom is set up on the East Coast at Amexem, here at Northwest Amexem. And they are self-governing. They're now moving into the court venue in terms of having. I believe they have their own court already, and they're going to be. We're assisting in whatever way they need our assistance as well. And so we wanted to give him an opportunity to speak as well. While we're waiting for him, Justice Wassay, were you able to come into the meeting?
Here?
Justice Wassay.
To you. Islam, like,
Islam.
he was...
Islam, Grand Rising. We can hear you.
You hear me? I don't know if you can hear him. Wassay, you want to speak?
Yes, we can. We can hear.
Islam.
Islam, Justice Wassay, we want to yield the floor and give you about 7 to 10 minutes to express how you will.
I can
Yes.
barely hear you.
Okay, well, we can hear you. She was
Okay.
giving you the floor.
Islam. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and give praise to the Almighty. And I'm still a little honored and overzealous that I was asked to do this, and I was asked to speak on the strategies and tactics would not make a good enforcement organization, aka police. And it was heart-wrenching to go back into my experience.
Justice Wassay.
But it made it easier to express it because I just put it down the way I felt it. And
Wassay.
Yes.
I was wondering if he wanted to call in directly because it does sound a little muffled. If he wanted to call in directly, I can unlock the meeting so that he can come in.
Okay.
Okay. I make it up now to call you.
All right.
Islam.
All right, Islam.
Okay. Yes, we have had we do have to monitor security on here, as you all can see, which is one of our duties as law enforcement, is to monitor security and ensure that infiltrators and fraud don't come in, and that the heirs are here, Islam. And we see there are some who were waiting out, wanting to get in as well. Islam. And we are trying.
Your Morris clown guard is a fucking joke.
That's the riffraff that we're keeping out by locking the meeting. So for those who were locked out, we apologize that you are that there's entryway issues here. We're working through them, so keep trying. Islam. Justice Wassay.
Melo.
Are you here, Justice Wassay? I'm trying to see if he made it in. Justice Wassay. Hopefully he made it in.
The Black Folks Show. You guys are all black.
Empress, he's on the line.
Okay, we'll go ahead with go ahead and introduce him, Empress, while we wait for Justice Wassay. Go ahead and introduce him.
Your Majesty, are you on the line? Can you hear?
It's a fucking cult, you guys. It's a fucking...
Go ahead, Empress.
Your Majesty, can you hear me? And if you could star 6.
Okay. I want to be sure that we get everyone. Okay. We may end up having to have Justice Wassay. Justice Wassay, have you made it in? Here's what we'll do. We're going to have another summit coming up. It will be, we'll announce when it comes up, and we will put the King of the Oyotunji people, as well as Justice Wassay. They will be on that one. Justice Wassay, let me tell you a little bit about him.
Empress?
Yes.
He's locked out.
Go ahead and it's unlocked, Empress. Justice Wassay has 24 years previous law enforcement experience, and then he woke up. And now he is a Moorish American national, and he is involved in law enforcement and peacekeeping for his nation, which is the Moorish National Republic federal government, in its de jure status, which we have no other status other than our de jure status.
None of your bullshit works. This is all.
We want to make sure that we give Justice Wassay and the King an opportunity to speak. Let me just make sure. Okay.
Better lock it up, Paulie.
Okay. We may end up having them to speak at the next law enforcement summit.
This is a fucking shit show.
Yep, we'll go ahead and have them to speak at the next one. We do realize that some are having technical difficulties as well getting. And so thank you all for coming. Are there any questions about the things that have been said thus far? Are there any questions about them? We have about 5 minutes.
Yeah, why do you still get VA benefits?
We have about 5 minutes. Islam. Okay, we will go ahead and end here, and then we will resume in the coming weeks with law enforcement. In the interim, I'll be posting law enforcement things that we have going on social media at Light Tajiri Bay page on Facebook, and also Light Tajiri Bay at YouTube. That's LIGHT. Tajiri is TAJIRI, Bay is BEY, and then also, because this is not about Light Tajiri Bay, it's actually about the Moorish nation and the bloodline and the birthright on our land. So we want to be sure that we keep in tune to other venues such as House of Reawakening Minds and some of the other venues, the United Res Publica government. We want to keep them in mind as well, so that we all continue to unify. Grantor Belton is on YouTube as well. So we want to be sure that we continue to unify and continue to stay together. And with that being said, peace and grand rising to the air. Grand rising.
Grand rising.
Peace and grand rising to the Moors.
Grand rising. Peace and love. Love is law in Washington. Islam.
Yes, love, Washington, Islam.